Hello, I'm Mike Vanderpool with Valley Apps. I am starting a course for your company and for others on G Suite and how to use it. So in this very short screencast, I'm just going to simply talk about composing email, what that interface looks like, and how to send an email, look for sent emails, but simply talk more about the idea of sending this and getting it to someone. So with that in mind, you're inside of Gmail. You go to gmail.com, log in with your credentials, and you'll come to an environment like this. We'll talk in our next series a little bit about the tour, but I want to go right to the basics, which is the most important thing in email, which is reading and sending emails. So right away, I want to talk about this inbox. So I'm looking at my inbox right here, and you can see that I have a message from my other account. So I sent a message here, and I actually sent a couple messages back and forth. You'll notice that the subject says test subject, and you'll notice this number 3. One of the things that Google does out of the box is it does something called conversation view or threading. And what that means is if I expand this here, you'll see there's multiple messages underneath the same subject line. Now this I send a couple minutes apart, but this could be days or months apart. And why I personally like this is because if I'm working with a client or on a certain subject, I can actually see what was said instead of having these be each independent messages. Some of you who have worked in other things like Outlook and other clients and other programs like Microsoft, if I reply to this, even though it's the same subject, it would actually send me independent messages. So these would come in as standalone emails rather than lumping them together. It takes some getting used to, but I really find it enjoyable because I can quickly scroll through, and whether this is a string that's been going on for a couple minutes or I sent it a year ago and then I just replied to it yesterday. Google is smart enough to combine those messages so that I can actually see a picture of what went on chronologically, which I really like. So I wanted to get that out of the way right away, that it may look a little different if you're not used to it because of the threading. Now, having that said, this is my inbox, and I want to talk simply about composing emails today. So on the left-hand side, you'll notice something that says, well, compose. So if we hit that compose, we'll see the new message window pop up. Now here is where I would actually input the person that I'm going to send this to, and I'm going to go ahead and send this to my other account. You'll notice that this is actually pre-populating some mics that I've emailed in the past, and most notably it'll bring up the mic, in this case my other account, that you've emailed the most. So this is called autocomplete. So this is something that you don't need to take any action on. Google uses advanced artificial intelligence basically to figure out who you're emailing the most and to make it a little bit quicker for you. So if I go ahead and hit that, that's going to be the person that I want to send the email to. On the left hand side, you'll notice two other descriptors here. One is called a carbon copy, or CC. The other one's called a BCC, or blind carbon copy. Now the carbon copy sounds like just what it is. I am copying someone on this email. Now Mike at Valley Apps, whoever I copy here, Sean at Valley Apps, he will also see, Mike Vanderpool will see that I copied Sean at Valley Apps. Now, if I didn't want Mike Vanderpool to see that I copied someone, I would actually go BCC. Now a quick tip. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to delete that. I can actually pull this down to BCC. And this way, I will send the message to Mike at Valley Apps, but it's also going to get blind carbon copied to Sean. So just know that the difference is if you use CC to copy someone, that everyone's going to see who you copied. If you use BCC, they're not going to see, in this case, Sean got copied on the email. Secondly, and very importantly, is the subject line. So I always tell people, name the subject line as something that's relevant and searchable, because up here on the top, you'll notice search mail. We'll talk about that when we talk a little bit more about the interface on the next video, but know that you can search by this, and if you have good subject lines, then of course you'll be able to pull it up. So I always like to include what I'm talking about. So let's say I'm talking about dogs, just for an example. So I'll say, my dog is the best. So now if I search anything, my dog is the best, any of this stuff up here, it's going to bring that email up. So make your subject lines relevant to what you're speaking about, but also kind of be thinking about, okay, if I need to search this, what's the best way for it to come up? So if I just start typing a message, hello, did you see my dog on YouTube? Now, I'll tell you why I put YouTube there, because we're going to go through some of the formatting here. But this, this is fine. Most of your day is going to be just sent typing, but you may want to format some stuff. So I may want to emphasize something with a bold, or I might want to underline C. And you can notice that I'm doing this rather quickly, but down below here is your toolbar. And if you hover over these things, you can do multiple things. So if I want to italicize did, I would hover over here and hit italicize. I can also change the fonts. I can also change the text size. So if I want something bigger, so if I want to emphasize this, for example, or I just want to make things bigger for my readers, I can go something like huge, right? So that's just going to make that really big. Now, this is great for formatting. The great thing about Google is whether you're here or you're over here, when you hover over things, it's going to give you a descriptor and a toolbar or a hint about that toolbar. And what it does, or that button and what it does. So if you just simply hover over something, it's going to tell you exactly what it does. So your text formatting, if you wanted to put in a numbered list, for example, or you wanted to put a bullet list, and then this button, whenever you see a button on Google to the right, that means that there's other descriptors. So strike through is one, remove formatting, indent more. So these are just strictly talking about the format of your text, your email, your paragraphs. Down below that is a bit more advanced features. Again, formatting options, but attaching a file. So you would hit that if you want to attach something from your computer. It will open up a dialog box, attach a photo, whatever you have. The other thing I use a lot is actually this link icon. And basically what that does is it allows me to link YouTube. So if I want that to be a link, I can do youtube.com. Hit OK, and you'll notice that it turns it into a link that's clickable that will bring them to YouTube. So this could be, if I wanted to link this to, Wikipedia of what a dog is, for example. So I use the link a lot. Here you have emojis if you're using emojis in here. Also insert files using Drive. So instead of attaching files, remember attachments have a 25 megabyte limit. So if you ever see something that says, and Google will lead you down the path here. If it's too big, it'll say try using Drive. But again, I could insert something from my Drive folder here. Like this, and that's going to, give them a link to view that into my Drive. Now, if I mess up and I don't want that there, again, hovering over it and clicking that X, I'll get rid of it. There's also the ability to send money. Again, I won't go too deep into that. I don't really use it. And then again, the three dots or the drop down is going to give you a couple more options in terms of being able to expand the abilities, but I want to just stay pretty basic with this group in terms of what this interface looks like and what it does. Now, ignore this GMass. This GMass is actually an application I've installed to do mass mailing across our domains, so you won't have this. You'll just simply see the send. Now, I do want to say, again, there is this arrow, so anytime you see an arrow, you'll know that there's more features involved with just sending. So here you can see scheduled send. So if you're someone that likes to maybe write an email and have it sent out at a later time, this is how you would schedule your sending. But right away you can hit send. Now you'll notice when I hit send that there is an undo. So I have it set up so that I can undo that message. So that means it's not going to fully send it out. It holds it in cache for a while, so you can bring it back if you messed up. But again, that's just a feature that we'll talk about when we talk more about the advanced settings inside of Google. But I believe it is turned on by default. So if you see that, you could pull it back in a sense, but you only have 15 to 30 seconds to do so. So I'm going to go ahead and send this off. So if I send that off, there it goes. And other than that, that's the basics of composing and sending an email. Now, lastly, if I want to see the emails I sent, we'll talk a little bit more about this toolbar in the next video, but this is the sent folder. So I can hit here down below. We can look here and set sent, right? So this we're going to see, okay, well, I just sent this right here to the other mic. So that's the basics of the sending and receiving. A little bit about conversation view. Now, one last thing I will say, if I'm in this thread and it's a test subject and I don't want it to be threaded, so I'm going to hit reply and I want this to be removed from this chain. On the left-hand side, again, we see the classic arrow. We can drop this down and hit edit subject. I'm going to change this subject because now I'm going to talk about my other dog. So it's not going to be relating to the test subject. My other dog is smaller. So if I hit this and hit send, it's not going to keep it in this chain, right? It's going to bring it out of the chain and keep its individual email because it's not lumping it by subject. So hopefully that makes sense. If you have any other questions, let me know. More videos are coming out within the next couple days, and we'll do more advanced features, talk a little bit about your inbox, and then start moving into some of the other applications like Google Docs, Google Drives, and calendaring so that your team can get more up to speed on Gmail and how to use it internally. Look for more videos, and we'll see you next time.